each year, PCEF offer innovation grants to our teachers. This year we had 19 grants submitted, and I am pleased to be able to announce the winners tonight. What was important to Kathy Donovan was that we would be able to move this forward to a motion tonight so we could vote on it at the October meeting, so that the teachers would get their funds, even though I think a formal presentation will be at another board meeting, is the way I understand it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Why don't you
Okay.
go through the presentation?
Sure.
We'll talk about timing.
Okay, all right, so these are the winners of the grants. Mrs. Volak for coding bots at Grass Elementary School, Mrs. Peterson and Mrs. McGovern for coding bots at Bedminster, Mrs. Crawley for coding at Bedminster, Mrs. Bowers at Sellersville for workstations, Mrs. Myers and Mrs. Weir for flexible seating at Dibler, Mrs. Fennel for the life skills trips at the high school, Mrs. Hill and Mrs. Penjuk at Sellersville for instruments, Mr. Ehrman for video design at Seiler, and Mrs. Ballant for puppet making at Dibler. The total amount covering 9 grants is $7,232. So we very much appreciate the efforts from PCEF, and we congratulate the recipients. They have all been notified, so we had a lot of cheering going on today.
Great. Good.
So the reason Dr. Schein mentioned about the timing, so to be able to get the teachers the checks as early as possible, they want to approve these in October. So we've told the teachers we're going to celebrate as Mr. Ferry to go ahead and publicize and cheer and do all those types of things. As part of the superintendent report in December, I asked the Ed Foundation to do a 10-minute presentation so that the communication in the community can get a sense for who they are and what they do and all of the roles they play. And this is a very significant, from a dollar amount, role that they play in terms of the money they give to teachers. So we will do the whole big check ceremony and talk about the amount of money they've given over the multiple years that they've done this, not just this year. And we'll invite those winners to come back and be at the December board meeting. Going to do that, but to be able to celebrate. And so that's the December timing, because that will allow them to talk about what they're doing and advertise what they're doing for the holiday season, as well as a lovely evening and some of the other events that they do to be able to give them a piece. But that's one of the ways I want to use the superintendent's report to be able to just kind of celebrate some of those relationships we have with other organizations that directly impact our kids and our teachers in this case. So that's why the December piece with the October board meeting makes sense, so that the checks can get cut and the teachers can start using these things in the classroom as soon as possible.
Okay, good. So we'll move that one forward as well. And that's it for the agenda. Our next curriculum committee meeting is November 12th in this room. And we're back to public comment.
And before we get to public comment, I want to cycle back to the two things that were asked earlier as to whether we're prepared to provide some information this evening, or whether you want to get back to Ms. Furlong privately on the two matters. And I think they were the presentation on class rank,
Yes.
As well as the PSSA results this week.
Yeah, so I'm not prepared for a presentation tonight, so what I did want to say is that as soon as all the data comes through the state, and they're working on the Future Ready Index profile for schools, when I have all that information and it's in context and it makes sense, that's what I've always done. I'm really waiting for the state to come and give us that information. And then I will present it at the next meeting when the information is available. We have been talking, second point, Mrs. Furlong, about class rank. So we have been doing a lot of work on class rank. We anticipate that we will be prepared at an upcoming meeting. I'm anticipating November, that we will finally have that all together. It has been a very fruitful conversation, and we're excited to be able to make some recommendations to the committee. Is there anything else to add? You do? Okay.
Traditionally, the PSSA numbers and the state's numbers do not come in on time. They're supposed to be by
Yeah.
September
Right.
30th. They never arrive by September
Right.
30th. In fairness to
Thank you,
Dr. Schein and all her predecessors, they've all suffered that same fate. And beyond that, when they change the system as they are this year, they usually come in inaccurately, which is another huge problem, because reporting inaccurate numbers, in my opinion, is far worse than reporting nothing at all.
Yeah.
So you're up against a wall this year, I suspect, so I wouldn't necessarily anticipate that anytime soon, but.
We received an email yesterday or sometime over the weekend that simply said, preview, try number 2. So that it was an email basically saying, we're going to preview the
Right.
information to superintendents so that you can check our math.
Right.
Before we put it out
Oh.
publicly. So don't worry, I'll
Oh.
sharpen my pencil and yeah, but they would do that over for a couple of weeks.
Get there.
But you were right, they're still.
Yeah, he's probably all excited. He's like,
Oh, I am.
this is my
There were
wheelhouse.
Oh, yeah. Anyone have anything else?
PSSA's come out, I missed that, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, your question?
When did the PSSA scores become available? I missed that.
PSSA results were out
In
in
the summer.
June this year, July this year.
Yes.
So, yes.
And so we can't get the PSSA until we have the other?
So we have PSSA scores, but what Future Ready Index is going to do is to put everything in context. And that's really how we've always presented this, is we waited until all of it was out and then we gave you the entire profile.
Yeah. Any other public comment, or any public comment, I should say? All right, then we are adjourned 2 hours late.